Hey, this is Anne with Doubting Believer, and I am here with Marie Maynard O'Connell, and we are continuing to give you ways that you can lighten up for Lent. So I'm going to let Marie introduce herself and tell you a little bit about what she's doing.
So my name is Marie Maynard O'Connell, and I'm currently the pastor at Park Hill Presbyterian Church in North Little Rock, Arkansas. And I have been doing a Lenten practice for many years now. And that when I began blogging about it, I think in 2009, I called it Lenten Plastics instead of Lenten Practice. Nobody gets that joke anymore, but we're stuck with it now. Not long before our first child was born in 2007, I had decided I wanted to try, I noticed then the issue of plastics in the world. I had at that time become aware of the Pacific garbage patch. And then that there's a garbage patch in every ocean, and just realized that the plastics that we use remain in the environment pretty much forever unless we choose to do something with that material. So it goes into landfills and stays there, or it somehow ends up in streams and oceans and lakes. And while that material slowly breaks down over time, mechanically, it really does stay in the environment, mostly intact.
Okay, so wait, just to clarify,
yeah,
you decided to do this right before you had a baby.
Yeah, so what it ended up doing that year was that it informed our decision, our first big decision as a family to try and remove plastics from our lives. And I should say right now that I'm not actually good at this. It's just that we make certain decisions to try and deal with it. And so we decided to do cloth diapers for our first child. This was in an apartment that did not have a washing machine. So this was ambitious and possibly unwise. But that was probably the first really big decision we made on how to change an aspect of our life, was to try and intentionally use fewer plastic diapers. Now, like I said, we weren't really great at this, so we definitely did end up using plastic diapers for travel, and when the children ended up going to daycare, because I work, most daycares, you have to really fight with them. You pick your battles. You have to decide, do you want to fight with the preschool director about diapers or about things like vaccines, which I'm in favor of.
So what I'm hearing is it's not an all or nothing. This is an effort that you can make and to do something.
Yes.
So what are the easiest things to do, and what are the places where you've really struggled? So if I want to do this tomorrow, where's my easiest places to get rid of plastic?
Well, I think the first thing is mindfulness, is just becoming aware of where plastic is impacting your life. And so this year, I'm partnering with my college roommate and good friend, Kat Wilson, and she encouraged me to take the Lenten Plastics, which had been a seasonal blog for several years. It's so seasonal, I have to go find it each year because I don't update it when I'm not using it. And she wanted to make it a website. And one of the things that we're going to do is we also want to do some text devotionals each day, and about a quarter of those text devotionals for Lent are going to be mindfulness exercises.
Okay, so just paying attention to where the plastic is.
Yeah, and so like what I might do is I might text you and buzz your phone and say, locate the nearest piece of plastic. And for a lot of us, that's going to be what we're wearing. It's polyesters. I'm pretty sure this is polyester. Okay. But then also mindfulness, like, locate the nearest piece of plastic to you. What is its next life after the life that it's serving right now as your coffee cup or whatever? What happens to it after? Can it be recycled? There are 7 different kinds of plastic, and only the first 2, numbers 1 and 2, actually recycle easily. The others can recycle, but most of our recycling facilities are not actually set up for that. Also, little known fact, the size of the plastic is very important to the machines that sort them. And so those tiny bits of plastic, bread tags, that kind of stuff, often can't be recycled, not because of its type, but because of its size. So the first thing that I would say for anyone who's interested in doing this is it's first just mindfulness, becoming aware. Because when you're aware of it, you can start to make different choices. And so in the grocery stores, I started just kind of searching out things that were packaged in cans or glass jars instead of in plastic. The easiest thing to do was to stop using the plastic grocery sacks. Definitely the easiest thing to do. You get your own nice bags, you remember to carry them in. When you forget, you just buy another one. Or, in the choice that always weirds out the grocery store clerks, just carry out your goods in your arms. It's a good incentive.
I don't need a bag.
It's a good incentive to remember to bring your bag next time. You're like, I got this.
Nobody stopped you.
Nobody stopped me.
So it sounds like a lot of this is research, and you have done a lot of this research.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming during Lent, on the blog, on the website, we could be benefiting from your research.
Some of it.
Where to find the toilet paper that's not in plastic, or what's the hard, you said, okay, with packaging, what's the hardest thing to buy or to use without making use of plastic? What are the ones you've had to say, you know what, we're just going to have to let that go because it's just not practical?
Yeah. The two places where it's hardest to avoid plastic are in food products and personal hygiene. What I found in food products, primarily meats and dairies, hard to find them not packaged in plastic. Especially, sometimes you can get meat from the meat counter, but then you have to show up at the grocery store when people are hired to be at the meat counter. You can't go at 11 p.m. That's what I do. But then sometimes you have to ask them to not package it in plastic for you. You have to say, I want that in paper. And inevitably, you're paying for these decisions in your time. Because you have to explain yourself to the meat counter person.
Well, you see, I'm doing this Lenten practice, and I'm not using plastics. And what is
so
Lent? Well, let me tell you what Lent is.
Yeah. And then they're like, wait, are you Catholic? And I'm like, no, I'm Presbyterian. And I'm like, what's that? And let me spell it for you.
I just want my meat.
Yeah.
And some paper.
I just want sliced deli meat. So food is probably...
Food is hard, okay.
And
so if people want to do this for Lent, if they're like, yes, I want to embark upon this journey. And by the way, Marie writes the most hysterical posts about her own efforts in giving up plastics that will make you laugh all through Lent. But so there's going to be a website.
It's going to be a website. We'll have the blog. We'll also have a daily devotional.
Okay. And you can sign up for that at the website?
You'll be able to sign up for that at the website, and we'll send you a text, or you can come find it on the website.
Okay. And we'll have the website. Check the description of this video. And you can get the website from there.
You should be able to also Google search Lenten plastics.
Lenten plastics.
Find it there as well.
So.
But on our website, we're also going to have a pledge where you can pledge to try and give up plastics for Lent.
Okay.
It's a loose pledge. But one of the ideas that we had was kind of incentivizing it for ourselves. And I did this one year. Every time I had to use plastic, I then had to research what that plastic was that I couldn't do without. So that was 1 year. I have to do this. Let's see what this is that I'm using. There was another year that every time I had to use plastics, I put money into a swear jar or a plastics jar. And then I donated that money to
because you swore. Because you couldn't, yeah.
Okay. And so we'll have some options people can have to try and keep themselves honest.
Okay.
And also acknowledging that not all of us can do this. One place where plastic is absolutely necessary and is a blessing from the baby Jesus is medical grade plastic. Modern medicine is not possible without medical grade plastic. And I had a really eye-opening experience at the hospital one day when I had that mindfulness moment of what's the nearest piece of plastic, and it was the IV of a friend who was going into surgery, and I realized how much plastic was in that room. And it is both a challenge to modern medicine about how much waste is created out of medical grade plastic, but how much of it is necessary. We don't want to go back to the era of glass IVs and rubber tubing. We don't want to go there. And I think that's really important to say, is that there's a lot of plastic that has saved lives and changed the world for the better. And I think it's valuable to question how we're using it and to ask, is there any other substance that can do this as effectively, though perhaps not as cheaply? But yeah, so that the other place that I mentioned was hygiene. And that's getting a lot better with some companies like Lush and a few others that are aiming to produce products that don't require packaging or don't require as much
plastic bottles
around them. Yeah.
One of the great things about embarking on this discipline with Marie and Kat is that you can find out it's not about banning every plastic ever from your life. It's about being mindful, like Marie said, of where you're using plastics. And by the time Lent is over, you will have some places where you can reduce it, the use of plastics in your lives. And some of it will take a lot of effort, but I bet you're going to find that some of it really doesn't take that much effort. It's just thinking about it.
Yeah, and so I think that the changes that have been pretty permanent in our life were grocery sacks, garbage bags. We ended up realizing that we could use paper sacks for our kitchen garbage bags. We also started, or I did, making just different choices in the kinds of products I'd purchase at the grocery store, namely things like spaghetti sauce. Instead of getting it in the big plastic tubs, you've seen. Well, I have a large family, so that's the size that they come in. I have a big family, so we get like the mega tub, and then so we get it in glass. Okay. Or learn to actually
make some tomato sauce.
It's not hard. It's
out of tomatoes.
It's actual
that
tomatoes.
Don't come in plastic bags.
Yeah, you just cut them up and you boil the heck out of them. Right. That's how that occurs. And so we just started making different choices, and I think this year, I believe my family is mostly on board with eating less meat. I think the hardest place that's going to actually hit the road is going to be in the lunchbox with cold cut sandwiches.
Or lack thereof.
Because even if we switch to a soy-based product, it's still going to be covered in plastic, in a plastic wrapper. So I think we're gonna try and give up meat.
Will we have updates on that on the blog?
Yeah,
you're gonna want updates on that.
I think so. It's because it's gonna be the youngest child, who is almost 4, who's gonna complain the hardiest about not having his cold cut sandwiches. But I think that's what we're gonna try as a family this year, is that, and then more whole foods to try and avoid getting foods packaged in plastic. I won't be shopping at one of my favorite employee-owned stores because, for reasons indecipherable to me, they insist on covering their fresh produce in saran wrap. So, like heads of broccoli covered in saran wrap. You know, I don't understand why. And so I will not be shopping at that store unless I have to break down and get kielbasa, in which case I'll be at the meat counter.
Well, sign up, take this challenge, and find out all the different ways that you can reduce plastic in your life and live a little bit lighter. Because by doing that, you will take up less space in our landfills and in our oceans. And so you will live a little bit lighter on this earth. And your lives will be lightened up a little bit, knowing that you're living a little bit differently and being kinder and sustainable. So check out the website. That is be in the description, and lighten up for Lent by giving up some plastics. And thanks so much, Marie.
Thank you, Ann.
Marie's the only person who is actually here in person. Everybody else is by Zoom, but Marie lives down the street, so we can come and video together. So be looking for other videos and check out different ways that you can lighten up for Lent. Thanks.